Welcome back to Momster Mash, a place for the moms who feel a little different, a little witchy, a little drawn to the darker and deeper parts of life. And today's episode is a personal one. My daughter's saying hello.
You're the best person on earth, just know that.
Thank you, Mama. Today, I want to talk about the parts of me that had to die, the parts of me I gave away, and the parts of me that were always there, just waiting for me to come back to them. This episode is rooted in my experience as a mother. But this isn't just about motherhood. This is about identity, about the masks we wear, the roles we step into, and the parts of ourselves we hide, reshape, or outgrow. If you've ever had to become someone else just to survive, this is for you. Becoming a mom is beautiful. It's powerful. It changes you in ways you can't even begin to understand until you're in it. But people don't talk about this, though. What people don't talk about enough is that it's also a kind of death. Not in a tragic way, but in a transformation. There are pieces of you, versions of you, that get quieter. Some get pushed to the side. Some get reshaped into something else entirely. And you don't even realize it's happening at first. You're just trying to survive, trying to love your kids the best you can, trying to show up every single day. But somewhere along the way, you start to wonder, where did I go? Because suddenly, you're not just you anymore. You're a mom. You're a wife. You're an employee. You're a sister. You're an aunt. You're the one people rely on. And every role asks something different from you. And you show up because that's what you do. But there are days where I just sit there and think to myself, I just want to be Loana today. Not mom, not mommy, not the one holding everything together, just me.
Hello again.
And the truth is, I don't think a lot of people really know that version of me. The one that feels unsure sometimes, the one that wonders if she's doing a good job, the one that feels a little lonely in all the roles she has to play. And let's talk about something else that doesn't get said enough. I hate being the one who has to say no. I hate being the one who has to enforce boundaries, the one who has to give consequences, the one who has to take things away. Because I love my kids so much and I want them to be happy. But I also know I'm not just raising kids. I'm raising humans. Humans who need structure, who need to learn right from wrong, who need someone to hold the line even when they don't like it. And that part of motherhood, it's heavy. Because love doesn't always look soft. Sometimes love looks like boundaries. Sometimes love looks like being the bad guy for a moment so they can grow into who they're meant to be. But then there's the other side of it. The part that makes all of it worth it. The laughter, the sound of them playing together, just being kids. Even the noise, the chaos, the pitter-patter of little feet running through the house, and yes, even the bickering. Somehow even that becomes music to my ears. Because it means they're here. It means they're growing. It means they're becoming. I love watching them learn, watching their personalities unfold. seeing how compassionate and curious they are becoming. And sometimes they come to me with this pure, innocent wisdom. And for a moment, I get to see the world through their eyes again. I get to remember what it's like to be a kid. Those moments, I wouldn't trade them for anything, not even a second. So when I ask myself what parts of me had to die, it wasn't the parts of me that made me me. It was the parts that kept me small, the part of me that was uncertain and stayed there, the part of me that shrunk away from growth because the pain might be too much to bear, the shadow parts of myself that I locked away out of fear, the part of me that felt embarrassed to be who I am because others might not understand. Those are the parts that had to go. Or maybe not die completely, but be transformed. Because when I became a mother, I didn't just give life. I forged myself. I made myself stronger. I learned how to stand up when I need to. I learned how to enforce boundaries or at least see them coming. I learned to ask for help when I need it instead of carrying everything alone. I became more vulnerable, not less. I started looking at myself honestly, owning my mistakes, taking responsibility for who I am. Because my kids are watching me and I don't want them to just see mom. I want them to see a whole woman. I want them to know that I'm human, that I cry, that I get scared, but I do it anyway. I want them to know it's okay to feel everything, to want to be everything, and to still move forward. Because one day they're going to forge their own paths, and I want them to remember me not just as their mother, but as Loana, a woman who felt the fear in her throat and chose to rise anyway. Here's the thing. Not all of me disappeared. My love for the spooky, my love for horror, my connection to something deeper, something spiritual, my curiosity, my sensitivity, and my inner world, that didn't disappear. They didn't fade. They just changed. They adapted to the life I was living. They moved with me through motherhood. They existed in different forms, but they were always there. Because that's who I am at my core. And no matter how many roles I take on, no matter how life shifts around me, those parts of me will always be there. And now something is happening. As my kids get older, I'm getting pieces of myself back, little by little. And the difference now is I'm not the same person I was before. I'm more aware, more grounded, more honest with myself. So when these pieces come back, I know how to hold them now. I know how to fit them together. I'm not just going back to who I was. I'm becoming someone new, someone whole. And part of that is choosing not to be embarrassed about who I am. The parts of me that are different, the parts that don't fit neatly into a box, even the parts that people might not fully understand, that's not something to hide. That's something to own. Because this is me reclaiming myself, and this is me saying I can be a mother and still be fully, unapologetically me. I can hold all of these roles without losing my identity inside of them. So maybe I didn't lose myself. Maybe parts of me had to transform. Maybe parts of me had to be let go. So something stronger, more honest, more whole could take their place. And now I get to meet her. Not just mom, not just all the roles I carry, but me Loana. And today, that's enough. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Momster Mash. If this resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to know they're not alone in this. We're all finding our way back to ourselves in our own time. That's why I record episodes and send them out into the void weekly, just hoping, that someone will howl back. Next time, we'll step into the shadows, the parts of ourselves that motherhood, or the roles that we play, can reflect back. The fears we hide, and what happens when we finally face them. As always, protect your energy. I'll see you in the next one.